had the same challenge. There are clients that are abusive, actually.
Yeah.
There are clients, yeah, you've had it before, right? There are clients that
abusive.
are exploitative, they are abusive, and I want to be upfront about this.
Heita Bulelani Balabala here. Welcome to the Small Business Podcast. We bring you weekly information, practical skills, and mentorship from industry professionals. This podcast is powered by T, an initiative that has directly impacted over 50,000 plus small businesses nationwide. This podcast is for small business owners who want to start, run, and grow their business. Follow us on all our social media platforms. #JoinUs4T. Every Wednesday is a new podcast. Hi guys, Bulelani here again. Thank you, man. You're joining us for episode 20 of our small business podcast. And, it's been such a beautiful journey, starting these podcasts and just sharing entrepreneurial knowledge with you. And I've got an amazing entrepreneur, digital enabler, and an entrepreneur. Very, very, very lovely lady in studio with us today. And I think just by way of introduction, before I sort of hand over to her to introduce herself, tell us a bit about herself. I've got Lethumusa Kulube, is an experienced digital strategist specializing in digital strategy development and implementation and people change management, which she gained during her tenure in technology and operations environments. Her skills involve strategy development, implementation, project management, people change management, business management, and stakeholder engagement. And I'll just hold it there because we'll sort of unpack all the others as we sort of chat. Lethumusa, how are you? Thank you for coming. Actually, I think just first and foremost, I know how busy you are. Thank you for finally coming to the podcast. How are you?
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on this podcast. I have started to follow, so I've enjoyed the episodes that you've just mentioned, and I'm happy to be number 20.
Thank you so much. So just, how's your 2022 been thus far? How are your energy levels? What are you forecasting in terms of business from an energy perspective? No numbers.
The energy, I'm all about, especially this year, especially having seen what we've seen the last 2 years. I'm really all about great energy, good vibrations, and self-care as well, right? And it's not just the hype of it, it's the actual thing of it, right? So I'm there. It takes a while to get into the habit of it. So in the first week, one has all these plans set out, and then come week 3, it's like, yo... but we try every day. We wake up with an intention to try. So that's the goal. 2022 so far has been great. It's been really amazing. I'm just scared of how fast it's going. I'm like, is it Friday already? It was Monday yesterday.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I woke up, I'm like, how is it Friday? How? And it's not really like a laughing matter anymore. It's a serious thing. How is it Friday? I want to know. But other than that, all good vibrations.
Yeah. But to just give me some background, like where you from? And the migration from finance to, the work that you're doing now, I'd assume people would love finance because of money. But it's clear that there's a disparity or some, just maybe unpack that for us. About WeRP and how did the financial transition sort of take you to where you are now, transitioning between the two careers?
All right, I'll keep it short, sharp, and sweet, but hopefully it tells a story. So I always say that I'm a child of SADC, right? I've got roots in Zim, Botswana, Swaziland, and here. I feel at home everywhere in the south. Wherever I go somewhere, you find another. How do you know that? So I've been very in tune to how to speak with folks from different context. In my youth, I grew up in the East, in Edenvale, but I'm from the East. When I say I'm the East. Someone was actually saying a comment, where's Barcelona? I'm like, it's in Benoni, don't you know?
Sorry.
With that brownie points laugh, no. Is it that there's a place called Barcelona in Benoni? Have you never been there? And during those years, I really wanted to be a social worker. Yeah. The problem is I like money as well, so I was like, I heard that they don't pay well. I don't know about how I feel about that, so let me try and study something that's actually gonna help. I studied IT. I learned how to code, and yes, I learned the field and I could code, but it's not something I could say I can do. But in the time at school, I learned I can work with people. I can talk with these guys that don't talk at all, but I can get things out of them. Yeah. We can get projects done. Fast forward then about 10 years into my life at the bank. I always have it at that, and I think the bank has got such a misconception. It's finance, it's tech, it's all these other things that I was in IT. Yeah. It really was a great experience having to work in that time in the bank where there was so many changes and shifts happening. From a growth context, it was that, but it was a really stressful environment. But then again, I wouldn't have changed this story. I then started to ask, I'm doing all of this here. I wonder how I would do, like in a space where I'm not really used to. Number one, that's the first thing I started to ask him, like, I wonder if I can do that, and I can do it, but I'm always in here. I'd like to do it out there. That's the first question that started to ask. Number two, I've always wanted to help. That thing of wanting to be a social worker, it never died. It was just always there in different shapes, and I figured you can bring the best of those worlds as one if I pursue my goals like this, and I focus on a specific niche, as they say, or a specific field. And that's when I kind of took the bold step. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan when I left. I just kind of left. Everyone's like, are you sure? Are you okay? Do you need to see someone? No, I'm just ready to go. And I think that's something that I've always shown. When it's time to go, it's time to go. Whether you're ready or not, no. Now is the time. Yeah. And I took the leap. I took the jump, and that was 2017, and we're still at it in 2022.
Now, and I think I want to just touch on something that you sort of mentioned there, right? In and around taking the leap of faith and jumping, right? At an opportunity, or just throwing caution to the wind and jumping into the abyss. Has your childhood always been like that? Or what are some of the early influences, or rather what are some of the early childhood influences that sort of influenced you to sort of think the way that you do? Because I sort of look at where I am now in my childhood. There's certain things I feel I could have done better, but there's certain things that sort of carried along that influenced the individual that I am today.
Yeah. I don't know if there's someone that has had a nice fluid childhood. I think we all take something out of there. I lost my mom at a young age, and I think that shaped me greatly. Just having to go through life and just think, I wonder if, and that constant wonder. Yeah. But at the same time, I often say that something that I knew wouldn't have had to happen was I wouldn't have had to stress as hard as I did, because it was hard after my mom left. Yeah. I was like, no, I have to look after myself. I have to look after this person, look after that person. So the whole thing of how to care for people in a context of can we think past now and go towards your future has always actually been there. It pushed me to actually work quite hard. I wasn't a straight A student, never has been, I never will be, but I understood what it was to work extremely hard to get what it is that you want. So if there's a goal or there's a target, there's a clarity around I need to get to that. Yeah. I must say that my parents were very influential in me, right? my mom was a go-getter, and it was just that she was born at the wrong time, I think, to myself. Like, you could be far if you were born 5 years after and were 25 at a certain age.
Yeah.
Because she was doing things that were beyond her age. I'm like, how did you do that at that young age?
Yeah.
And she was able to pull that off. And my father is a hustler of note. I think I got the hustle from him. There's parts that are good to the hustle, parts that are bad to the hustle. I think I took a little bit of both. So just their influence as well. We haven't had a formal entrepreneur right in the company. So we've had folks that were, like side gigs and side hustles. So, and I take pride in that completely because I learned a lot from that. But from my parents, it's I'm very proud to say that it's me first, and I'm hoping that it can have a few more after that. We're building something here.
Now, tell me something. So, in your sort of stint, right, in the banking sector, here you go into this new industry entirely. Did you have side hustles? And how did you manage that career, side hustle, working 8 to 9 or 5 and clients calling you at 10 p.m. We want our deadlines.
This is part of the story of how it was a strange thing that I could even quit my job. I never had a side hustle. I worked. I never sold even a Tupperware. I didn't know how to sell, and I've got a company. I was green. So no, I never had a side hustle. I would always concoct them, but when you think of them and to actually do it is two completely different things. And I see it with some folks that will come to me. I've got an idea. I'm like, right? I was taking the steps. So no, I didn't have a side hustle. It really was a new world that I just went into. I just said, it's time. It seemed absolutely crazy. I don't advise people to do what I did. It was tough. But that's how I did it. I just kind of lived at it.
Now, a lot of people, I think, when you sort of engage with people that, your career has spanned, 15 years now? 16 this year, if I'm not mistaken, from 2006, right? So when you sort of look at your career, and I think at the advent or at the back of what I'm going to ask now, how important, or have you had sponsors, mentors in your career development and growth? And how important is it for someone to sort of consider looking for this individual? Or if not, if someone is listening to this, availing an hour of their time a month to someone they could potentially assist?
It's critical. I think back to times when I was able to fast track. It was at the times when I had someone that could speak sense to me, someone that could tell me to look at this, look at that, consider that. I'm very blessed that I never went and requested that. It just came, right? I would just have a relationship with someone. We just kind of clicked. Okay, our next thing, they tell me to, I'm like, oh, okay, I never knew. That's how it worked. And I look back, I'm just extremely impressed with people that were senior in the organization. Senior. That just, I don't know. They have a thing. They just share. I was like, whatever it is, I'm happy to have it. But I can point where I could make a choice, or where I could actually take the step towards growth. Back to some of the conversations that we had. I think something that I took out of that was I understood the value of speaking with someone that is more experienced. I've always actually had that. If ever someone calls you the pet of the teacher, there's no shame, because I knew if I'm on a pass, I need to be close to this person. It was never an anti. I never had shame. If ever someone has that shame, don't have that. And so I carried that through, and I just always knew if, say for example, someone's going for a coffee and I know that we kind of click, I'm like, oh, can I come with you? And you just spoke. It was never like a formal session, let's have time. It actually just happens very naturally. I struggle at times with formal formal things, because it's not really natural. Where I've gained the most value was where it was very organic. And if you feel as someone that you are kind of leans towards someone, or you click well with someone, be very open to have those conversations. Say, listen, I'd like to spend a bit more time with you. Is that okay? Like, sure. And if you ask, you actually do get it. I actually remember asking. I think it just kind of happened. But I was always very clear in how I approached them and how I spoke, that I enjoy spending this with you. And they shared with me during that time.
What are some of the, I don't know, let's not call it a top anything, but what are some of the critical or prominent lessons you learned in your career?
The one was by a beautiful lady. I wish I could contact her again. I have her number, but I just need to find the guts to contact her again. And she said to me that your career is a jungle gym. You're gonna go across. You're gonna drop down. You're gonna fly up. You're gonna drop down. Don't be scared to take risks to get where you want to go. You aren't always going to go up. You're going to get really dirty on the ground. You're going to go high and watch everyone running. Then you're going to go in a tunnel and not see past, but go through it. And that's a career. It's not like a linear path. If you think that that's the case, it is, but it's limited. That's one of the ones that I tell that to folks all the time, actually. And I'm like, whenever someone says, no, I need to go higher, I need to get that promo, I'm like, but what do you want to learn? I need to learn this, and it means having to go down. So go down and learn that you're there and get back up once you're done. That's the one that stood out the most. I think that's my top one. I've heard a lot, but already now in this space that read, I think that's the one that I hope folks can hear and really grab.
So you are so you are also the founder and director of Stractiv8. Did I pronounce correctly?
Yes, you did.
Give this boy a bounce, because English is not my mother tongue. Got it
right first time.
Digital agency.
Yeah, it's an agency.
And so here you are now. You're transitioning. Did you sort of make the same jump from career to now entrepreneurship?
Yeah. Almost lost my house.
What? Yeah, that's entrepreneurship, right? Now, how was that, right? How was the transition? Because, you know, some people, you sort of engage them and it's like, yo, it's a culture shock.
Yeah.
You know, this is more structured. And then you jump into this, anything goes. How was that sort of transition? And and I think just on the back of that, what are some of the dispelled myths that you had about entrepreneurship that you had to live through?
Sure. So it was tough. I went from salary, a great car, you know, I had like a nice life to not nice life. Like, you have to make the changes. I sent back the car to the bank. I'm like, you need to go back to your owner. I said, okay, I can't send back the house because I need the house, but now the hustle is real. You think very, very differently. And I respect folks that are very clear in that I can't do this type of work. I can't be a entrepreneur. It's important that you're clear as to what you can and can't do, because it's risky out here. I think something that was a shock for me, coming from the space where I was at, and if you ask something from someone, they say yes, 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 yes. Now, when you're not there and you're on your own, there was a lot of just missed calls, man, missed calls. Having that shock and having to relearn how to, not even relearn, having to learn a completely new world. And it was a shock because coming from the yeses, now I'm just not hearing anything. And how do I now go past that? So I was stopped, and then I had to go back down to the bottom of the jungle gym and just try and crawl there. If someone wants to go on this path, I always say be very clear that have peace in your heart that you're going to be broke for a while. Just have that peace. You can save up. I don't know how much you want to save up. It's going to finish. You're going to go broke. And that's the point where now you're an entrepreneur. I think I didn't have any myths that were dispelled because I always was told that it's hard, and I heard that it's hard. I just didn't know how hard it was, you know? And you don't know until you're there. It actually got to the point where I stopped hearing motivational speeches because I felt this was so missing. I'm like, shut up. Don't stop it. I don't listen to motivational speeches. I'm like, oh, no, I don't need this in my life, right? Because they'll tell you to work 20 hours and not sleep. And then what's the cost of that, right? So yes, you're going to work extremely hard. I guess what was my big lesson was I found what worked for me. I still had to work extremely hard, but once you get into the flow of it and you find your tribe, as they say, because I had to have like a new tribe. I literally had to change my friends completely. That was when I started seeing a shift happening.
Sure. And I mean, I think just on the back of that, right, the sort of changing, being put in a position where now you need to change your friends and change the environment. Did you sort of see a pickup of these old friends sort of coming back on some, no, now we understand what you were going through? Or was it just a clear disconnect that happens through change and that happens through growth? Because we struggle a lot with that, right? Because I think and I'll tell you what happened to me, right? I mean, when I started a business years ago, I wanted my friends to come along, let's do this together. But they were not participants.
The comrades,
The comrades, but they were not part of the vision. So I guess over the years, it sort of fell off. And how has that been for you?
So you don't ever cut someone off completely unless something horrible has happened. It's just very clear that for where I am now, or for where you are now, they're not what you need. There'll be a time perhaps in the near future where those doors can come back, and don't close those doors because you can't plan for this life. Things can change. You can go. Things can change. So don't close all the doors. But it's more about knowing how much energy to put in towards a friendship, how much time you want to spend with someone. And I was just aware that there's folks that perhaps we shouldn't be spending as much time, and that's okay for now, right? And there's folks that you're meeting and are like, let's spend more time because that's where we're at right now. Because they'll come back, and what you're going to do? Yeah, you went for me when I was... No. It's life. It's going to change, and you just have to roll with it.
I think I like your method to it. Instead of cutting off, ideally, just reduce interaction.
I'm one of those that don't have this thing of the haters. I don't believe in haters. People, the haters.
People like it. People like having few dogs out there.
Simon, my enemies are after me like, no, there's no enemies. No, focus. Wrong problem.
Send money now.
Because you didn't send me money. I'm not. No. You need to. I think something that I learned that I don't know that I've actually gotten to the point. I don't think that we have like a point where we actually ever get to. Solve the right problem. Look at the right things, because I think at times you're looking at the wrong places. Like you're looking at it in the wrong way. The view that you have of something will actually help you go past that phase. There's no such thing as a hater. Yes, there's folks that are probably not for you, but that can change if you just know how to talk to people and engage with people, and you can solve a problem.
I agree with you. I agree with that with you completely. So, in your career is growing. You're an entrepreneur now, dealing with, all sorts of businesses and organizations, and through the multiplicity of skills that you've developed over the years. Do you still feel levels of imposter syndrome sort of creeping in
all the time?
And how do you deal with that, right? That sort of pinch. What am I doing here? Is
all
this me?
The time. I walked in here. I'm like, hey, sangena job public manje. You, Lethumusa, you. You can walk in here. It happens all the time. And I remember watching a show sometime back where someone was a host of a show, and they said you always have to feel that thing because otherwise you're not. It's like no relaxing. So I still feel it. I've learned how to have it used to my gain. But even still today, I can have something amazing done, and then someone says, "Yay, this is great," and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. So, yes, I don't know if that's ever going to go away. I'm very scared that it's going to go away and it's going to have me kind of slack a bit.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that it hasn't happened to the point where I can't move. I forced through the fear.
Yeah.
If there is a fear, it's like, no, but we're here now. We can't go back and go away onto the freeway back home. Like I said, there's a goal at the end. We just we're just there on the goal.
So you mentioned that, when you were in a certain space, certain organization, the yeses were many. You now jump into this, entrepreneurial journey, and then they sort of diminish. Now you're on your own, right? How then do you then adjust to now dealing with, I don't know if that would then be considered as a rejection, but how then do you now as an entrepreneur deal with the rejection coming in from clients, right? Because you're sending out these proposals, you're pitching, you're at networking events, you're reaching out, you've got more business cards than you do have space for anything in your house and car, right? But they turn into no leads and it becomes a headache. How do you manage rejection?
Sure. Me personally, I know that folks have got their ways of it. I make peace with the fact that someone can actually just say no. I actually tell folks now that it's okay to actually say no. It's actually okay. You don't have to go quiet and just ignore. Like, you can say this, I'm not interested. It was hard at the start because I'm so used to the ways, but at least I think something that helped was they have probably said no to a way that you wanted to do something, so probably change the way and just come back and approach it again. The big shift or the big challenge came in the thing of, if someone has said no, don't stop just because of no, right? Try somewhere else. That could be something else. Change up the thing that you offer them. That could be something else that you do. But don't stop just because of it. And I'm starting to sound like a motivational speaker. But you will not cope if you stop at every no. You will not cope. You have to look past the no's and think of it as a growth. All right, I've learned something. Let's try something else. But if you don't move, you're gonna go hungry. And I couldn't lose my house. I had to just keep going. Okay, we're homeless now. No, we're not homeless. Let's keep going. Keep attempting at that.
Yeah. Now, sorry. Now, I think for me, one of the things I find and I think this is where I've always viewed innovation, my definitions of innovation in this particular sense, right? This is an entrepreneurial show and podcast. This is what happens. You must answer an email. Feel free. This is a home.
I'm even annoyed. I'm like,
no. Feel free. No, feel free. Don't worry. This is it, man. Because this is what the entrepreneurial life is like, and I think having you depict that as honest as possible is for me is what we aim to do, right?
Thank you.
But I think for me, so of these over 7 or 8 different skills that you would have gained working in various and different industries, right? What sort of, I don't know whether, if I'm using the word loosely, right? Unique selling proposition, but what sort of edge has it sort of given you in the company that you sort of run now? Because I can almost think, that puts you sort of ahead, because where I'm sort of pitching an idea streamlined and single-minded, the fact that you've got this multiplicity of skills gives you an edge above somebody else or everybody else in the market.
Something that my clients have said that I think has been a proof, because you know how you spoke about imposter syndrome. I often wonder, am I not doing too much? And I'm not. I'm at peace with the fact that we are doing what is required now for the client now, and our clients through our client happiness type of thing that we did have said, I like the fact that we can contact her and the team and things happen. If we can't do something, it has to be extreme. There's no one that we can ask. And they have responded well to that, because they don't and I have to source different ways to assist. It's a one-stop shop type of vibe, which has helped. Something that one of my former mentors was saying. Now I'm going back to your other question that you had. They said, treat your skill set like the letter T. Not like a T is like T and T.
Yeah.
So in half about different things which are key, and if the time comes, you actually can go down into something and actually engage on it and actually have that level of and actually have that level of competence around it. That stuck already. I think that was the future, the future of work right there. You can't know your thing only, and that's the only thing that you actually can become competent in. It's a competitive space, and the more value that you can add to people by being able to have the tea, but know that the things that are required to really bring about value can also come from you. It has been my edge per se. I took what she said there was it usually is women. I think like two men in all this. It usually is a woman, and just that whole component is the same thing that we still carry in me. I still carry in me, and I now transferred with my team. My poor team has to learn everything. 'Cause I expect.
And I like that, right? Because I feel like that's the edge, in doing it in that particular way. But without doing a disservice, right, to the amazing work that you do, what does Stractiv8 do?
Communications and digital marketing for non-profits.
Oh, wow.
You have to have a line. That's the line. I've been rehearsing that line. Chop that line. When the time comes, I've got a line.
Yeah. And then, I mean, how do you sort of find... Okay, cool. So I think, number one, I sort of understand... I won't necessarily say the ignorance, but the sort of nonchalant behavior that small business owners would have to, why should I pay a practitioner? I could just go on YouTube. Is it the same way with NPOs?
It's the same way with everything. There's always someone that loves YouTube. Everywhere you go, I've seen it in big corporates. I've seen it everywhere. I watch YouTube. Sometimes I'm like, hey, this person's robbing me. Let me just compare, right? I think the key thing is to build trust so that they have the level of trust that we're going to bring the value that is actually required. Something that I always point out is by us actually having it done, you actually can focus on what it is that you actually want to see through. And if you're going to be doing what we do here, like, aren't you not doing your own work on the other side that's important? So it's those two ways that I kind of picture. But for me, it's always a case of promise the client value by actually giving them something that they can trust.
Yeah. Now, tell me this, right? So your business is largely service-based, right?
Yeah, service-based.
Now, purely for the fact that it's service-based, I mean, I could be grasping at straws, right? But there's no real entire benchmark to costing what you cost.
Right.
So
that's the fun
how?
part.
So how did you get to that confidence? This is our price.
Yeah.
And we are removed from the price. Now, I ask this on the back of conversations that have sort of come up when you talk to entrepreneurs, right? That sort of glaring, thin line between exploitation and a mutually beneficial opportunity where it's sold under exposure or whatever the case is.
Oh my gosh, no, exposure, hey? Exposure. If you ever catch me offering someone offering them that as exposure, I've gone off the wagon. Exposure is not paying. Please don't ever offer that to someone if you're listening now. I think at the start, because in the starting days, it was still new to us how to really price. So we just kind of went on, what do you think? What do you think? As time went on, I think I was very clear in setting the goal of, think of how much value you are giving the client and what level of quality and of effort you want to put into the work, and that helped us come to something. Now, granted, people have a different value, or rather cost, of what it is to give value, right? This cup has a value to you who doesn't drink coffee against me that actually drinks coffee. Now that's the first part. So yes, we tell them what it costs, and we know what we're going to put into it, what we want them to gain from it. It's also about the trust value component. What are we saying that will offer you that you can try to find somewhere else, or you have to now stretch yourself to now find somewhere else. So that's how we kind of approach pricing. Yes, we've got a price, yes, we've got a this, but we think of what's the value for you and what can we do with you going past this. I think, sorry, I'm sidetracking, but hopefully this actually helps answer the question. We aren't in it for the short term things. We value our clients a lot. I am always at peace when a client is like, listen, I need your help. Like, oh, you trust me. And that's where I pursue. That's the relational bit that I pursue. For a short-term contract, it's always going to be, but she was too cheap. Oh, but that. Then it gets to that. But if we build the trust and start to actually build that relationship, that's where it is for me. And that's what I pursue.
And what were some of the toughest things about now building a team? Now you go from this lone ranger. I can do everything. I know how to do it, and I know how to do it best. Yeah. But you realize now there's a lot of work. Now you need to bring someone in. Yeah. How difficult was that, and how did you go about navigating that first 2 employees?
Well, I've had more than 2. Something that I've learned I think I've had a team now for the last 3 years. I think something that was key for me to learn was that people aren't going to solve a problem, and therefore people aren't the problem.
Yeah.
People aren't the problem. We think this person, they can't work. No.
No, I like that because you're helping me, because that's the mindset I normally have sometimes. Continue. I like you.
I like me too. I think as entrepreneurs, the flaw that we don't invest enough time in is the stuff that's boring, processes and systems. That stuff is boring, but that stuff will solve your problem.
Yeah.
And that stuff is the problem. Once you have those in place, and let me be transparent, it takes time to craft that out, and you can't have it on your own. Bring in someone that can help you, because otherwise you're going to do it on your own, and then you're still trying this thing on your own. Get the processes in place. Have clarity around what a person would do if they came. Have clarity around what is the work that you want them to give to the clients, ways that they speak to the clients. Then you can hire anyone, literally. You can hire someone that's experienced, hire someone that isn't experienced but can be trained, but at least you have that clarity. Staff are not your problem. Staff are not your solution. So that's my approach to that. I've had folks that have come through and it wasn't a fit, and I was very fast to see that it's not them. There's not one person. Okay, I can't speak for everyone, but I think like this. Remember, giving energy, good vibrations.
Yeah.
There isn't a person that comes one day and says, I want to do a bad job. You don't wake up with that, right? So there's things that can help the best come out, and there's things that can cause the worst to come out. And the folks I've had that I've learned it through, I thank, okay, so maybe I pray. I thank God for them every day, because they've helped us grow the company to where it is now.
Yeah, sure. And I like that, because I think it's helped. I mean, I think as I sort of think about this, what you've said, and I listen to this podcast, it's probably going to help me in sort of unearthing, because I think out of frustration sometimes, that is how you sort of feel. But just answer me this, right? Sometimes you deal with the client, and the client, maybe you realize a bit later on that the client maybe is not the right fit. How do you fire them? Do you believe in firing clients? And how do you do that? Because most of the time, and I think we've been taught this, like, hold on to this person for dear life, even though there's no clear fit. And even though sometimes, even though you might have felt like there's a clear fit with the company, but the teams are not the one.
Yeah.
How do you then sort of work around that?
I don't know if you've had the same challenge. There are clients that are abusive, actually.
Yeah.
There are clients. Yeah, you've had it before, right? There are clients that
abusive.
are exploitative. They are abusive, and I want to be upfront about this. So just because a company is a small company, there are literally folks that prey on small businesses because they know that you don't have much flex, and you'll do it, and you'll go the extra mile because you want more. I hope me putting it out there is a call to action to stop that behavior.
Yeah.
Number one is also a call for these guys that are offering this to just be aware of it. Yes, you want the job, and yes, we need to take the gigs, but be careful when it starts to feel exploitative. And what is exploitation for you and your team. So I'll stop that bit there, and I'm glad we had some issue about have you been abused by some people? I'm the abusive, I'm your client, do what I want. I think a key thing, sure, I haven't had to end a job just going through. Finish the job and close the door well. Don't just hang in the middle, because that's just going to hurt reputation completely, right?
Yeah.
Slug it out, but at the end, close the door. And that's how you end and that's how you fire a client.
Yeah.
They will come back, hey, I need this. Like, no, not quite.
We're busy.
We close the door. I actually tell them I close the door. Bye. I don't know why you keep coming, because you know how it ends up with us. No, but no. It's okay, Shirley. It's okay.
Sure. And that's and that's such a powerful thing that you're mentioning, right? Because we struggle with that. So you hold on to a bad situation, for a very long time, thinking that this bad situation is the start, then the end all of your sort of business growth and career. How did you fare, and how did your business do during COVID? Or rather, we're still I guess we're still under lockdown.
Yeah, still in COVID.
We're rather minor, there's still COVID, but at the heightened level, right? Your mental health, you as a business owner, as an individual, how did you sort of feel at the initiate stage, and how did you navigate?
So during COVID, we actually grew the business. Remember, we work online.
Yeah.
We were doing that pre-COVID, and folks weren't sure, why do I need communications and just marketing business? Now we're at home. Now you realize, oh, flip, I need this anyway. So it was the switch for us, which was really great. I thank God all the time for that, because there's folks that lost their jobs. There's folks that were completely wiped out for it, right? But at the same time, it took strain on me and the team, especially me, because I think I was just like the be-all and end-all. The thing of working from home constantly, I never left. I would be inside and I wouldn't leave much. So that started to play its self out. Yet pre that, I was always outdoors, go on the hike, go on the walk, just to have the mind clear. I struggle with the thing of, no, you can't leave your house. I really struggled with it, and I started to see it play its self out from like October 2020, where I looked in the mirror. I've put on weight like no one's business. I'm starting to think clearly, because I'm always work. No more walking, no more sports, no more even reading. Right, I stopped reading because I was always in the work mode. So from my own context, I struggled during that. And once things started to like go a bit like more flexible, I was the first one out there. I'm like, I know I can't work from home. I know that it's nice to work from home, but I know that it won't last long. So yes, have those times when you work from home, but please have the times when you go out. I think something that I said to someone, it's like, you know what I miss? I miss seeing someone that I don't know and saying hi to them. That's hi. Just that interaction. So I don't so since I sent back my car, I don't have a car, so I use public transport and all that. I missed my taxi. Just count the money, take it forward, train, then sorry, excuse me, hi, excuse me, sorry, can I just, that whole interaction with people that you don't know. We have lots of things happening around us that we don't know just from that. So now I'm very intentional about that, and I hope folks have found their flair as to how to cope with working from home. Me personally, I don't agree with it much, because you need to actually be seen and seen out there. But if you're going to do it, have ways that you can be well as well.
Yeah, no,
Stay sane.
Definitely working from home is definitely not me. It's
just the hype. I was like, can we end this thing?
Yeah, I don't know who's listening to this, but this is not me, and I'm gonna say something. So at the height, so I drive out to the gas station to fuel up like $50 a day, $20 a day to get out and have a because it was that bad. And then you go to the pharmacy, you buy one mask, you'll come back the next day, because it was insane, right? But Letu, just so you sort of touched on, okay, cool. You had to you decided to take the car back and all that stuff. How important is it as an individual, as an entrepreneur, to delay the gratification, right? The immediate gratification for the long-term goal or the long-term picture,
sure,
whatever it is that you're building towards. Because sometimes you sort of feel like, and I think it's that sort of argument that happens in people's lives and finances and mentalities to say, I want to build now and eat now.
Yeah, sure. It's always an interesting one, hey? Because people have different contexts of it. Sure. And the whole thing of what's your goal then comes out, right? And something that is important for us to always have a context of is if you want something that's going to be long and going to grow quite well, you can't actually rush it. Don't rush that process. At the start, it was really hard to let go. I mean, I love sushi. I couldn't eat sushi. Now I must let go of sushi. But I know that I can't say, but just one meal, because I know what we're trying, to build. But that is what I do on me. The team have got a salary in the paid market related rates. Yeah. Because I know that they're not here as someone that's an entrepreneur. They're here because they are very clear that I want a job and they bring value. For me, I don't really earn a salary, but I'm very clear of what's coming. And they keep saying, aren't you going to take? I'm like, not yet, wait. Not yet, maybe another year or two, wait. But no, we're there. Like, no, we're not yet there, wait. And I don't know when the end point is, because I come to a place like this, I'm like, maybe this. And then I think, must I take this much? Because I know my needs are met. I think something that helped was I cut a lot, because I had a lot of fluff, but you've got a lot of waste in our lives. We don't realize how much you don't actually need. Yeah. When you think about it, you don't actually need some of the stuff. Yes, there's things, my reward. Don't live on treats, don't live on all those treats. I cut back a lot, and I have maintained the same. Someone was saying to me, "You're such a cheap date." I'm like, I know, I'm not. It's very simple. Let's cook it, but it's not because that's how I am. Because I like things as well, but I know that what we are trying to do here is not for here now. It's something that's coming that's going to really make a big difference to many more folks, not only me. It's actually not about me sometimes. But actually a lot of the time it's not about me.
That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is Lethumusa Kulube. Ngiyabonga. Thank you so much. That's it for today. If you like that podcast, show us some love and share it with your network. Once again, follow us on all of our social media platforms, #JoinUsForTea, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shout out to Joe Public for making this possible. Remember, Sisonke Rikaufela and Foster Njengomzegezege.